Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we sift through stacks of research reports, all that data, and pull out the key insights for you. And today, we're tackling something maybe a bit unexpected, the global stud finder market.
Yeah, that little tool for hanging pictures, mounting shelves.
Exactly. Seems simple, right? But it turns out it holds a fascinating mirror to, well, global economic health. Our main source today is the Stud Finders Market Report 2025-2033, Global and Regional Outlook. It's from Cognitive Market Research. So our mission really is to unpack this, cut through the numbers, and see what this detailed analysis really tells us. You might be thinking, stud finders, seriously? But honestly, stay with us. Okay, so let's get into it. Why are stud finders suddenly one of the fastest growing tool segments out there? What's the story?
Well, what's so interesting here, I think, is how this seemingly simple gadget acts as like a barometer.
Right.
It's not just about finding a piece of wood behind that drywall. It taps into these much bigger trends.
Yeah.
Economic shifts, development patterns worldwide.
How so?
Well, think about it. Using a stud finder often means you're using modern construction methods.
Right.
Or maybe doing renovations. It can signal growing incomes, people investing in homes, adopting safer, better building practices.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
So the numbers we're seeing, they're telling a story about how economies are literally building themselves up,
Yeah.
growing, improving. It's foundational stuff.
And those global numbers, they really drive that home. The report pegs the market in 2021 at, what, about $7.6 billion?
$7,579.83 million, to be precise. Already pretty substantial.
Pretty substantial, yeah. But the projections, that's where it gets kind of wild. By 2025, it's forecast to more than double, nearly $16.7 billion.
Wow.
And then looking out to 2033, we're talking over $81.6 billion.
$81 billion for stud finders.
Yeah, it's an almost 11-fold increase from 2021. That's huge. The compound annual growth rate, the CGR, works out to 21.9%. That's really, really strong.
Extremely strong. Over 20% CGR means it's roughly doubling every, 3.5 years?
Exactly. And the report actually calls it out, one of the fastest growing tools segments across industries. That's a pretty powerful signal, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And if you connect that back to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
such aggressive growth for a tool like this, it really points to widespread speeding up construction and renovation activity globally. It reflects, the health of global infrastructure, how housing is changing, maybe your pro-construction sector getting more efficient, more tech-driven.
So investment from businesses and regular people doing DIY.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Both sides seem to be driving it. It's not just a niche thing, it's broad.
Okay. So what does this all mean for you listening? Let's zoom in a bit. Where is this incredible growth actually happening? The report breaks it down by region, and it paints this picture of, well, the old guard's still strong, but new players just surging.
Yeah, the regional breakdown is fascinating.
Let's start with the traditional big players, North America and Europe. North America, for instance. Over $2.5 billion in 2021 revenue, projected to hit over $26 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of about 21.6%. Still really high.
Right. Still growing very fast.
And within that, the U.S. is the giant, obviously, but Canada and Mexico are also showing really robust growth, over 21%, 22% even, annual growth each. So the whole region is expanding quickly.
Sustained, strong growth.
Then Europe, similar picture, almost $2.2 billion in 2021, scaling up to over $22 billion by 2033. The CGR there is about 21.4%.
Very close to North America's rate.
Yeah. Key players are the UK, Germany, France. Interestingly, the UK actually has the highest ECGR in Europe, over 22.5%.
Okay.
And even more interesting, the category labeled Rest of Europe shows the highest growth within Europe, over 23% EGR.
That is interesting. It raises a question, doesn't it? When you see mature, developed markets like North America and Europe still posting such high growth rates,
Yeah.
what's really going on?
Or it can just be new houses being built, surely.
Yeah, exactly. It strongly suggests, a really active DIY culture, constant renovations on existing homes, maybe an increasing demand for, precision and better tools for both pros and homeowners.
So upgrading existing spaces, not just building new ones.
Precisely. Continuous investment in property maintenance,
Yeah.
upgrades, people wanting higher standards, and that rest of Europe figure, it suggests, adoption is still spreading widely, maybe in smaller markets too. Like the whole continent is maturing its building practices.
That makes sense. It's about the evolution of how we live and work in these places.
Yeah.
Okay, but now, here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
While North America and Europe have the huge market share right now, some other regions are just, Well, on fire in terms of percentage growth, setting a really fast
The
pace.
emerging growth engines.
Exactly. Look at Asia Pacific. Projected CGR of almost 22.7%. That's higher than North America or Europe.
Okay.
It goes from about $1.75 billion in 2021, forecast to soar past $20 billion by 2033.
20 billion. Huge jump.
And within that region, China's the biggest market, yeah, but India is showing what the report calls very strong growth, a remarkable CGR over 23.5%.
Wow, India's growth is really accelerating there.
And the absolute fastest. Southeast Asia and Taiwan, both expanding at nearly 24% per year. That's incredibly dynamic.
Almost 24%. That's phenomenal growth.
Then, moving west a bit,
In at least.
another strong growth zone, CGR over 22.5%.
Okay, still very high.
Expected to grow from around $450 million in 2021 to over $5.2 billion by 2033. Saudi Arabia is a leader, but the UAE really stands out. One of the highest growth rates anywhere over 23%.
The UAE at 23%, that's significant, especially given the scale of construction there.
Absolutely. It's a huge leap from where it was. And finally, Africa.
Right.
This continent actually has the highest overall regional HIGAR, an amazing 22.9%.
Highest of all regions, wow.
Yeah. Now, the starting base is smaller, obviously, around $167 million in 2021, but it's projected to hit over $2.1 billion by 2033.
Still, that growth rate is telling. Very. Nigeria leads in market size, but South Africa and the rest of Africa category show even higher growth rates, both topping 23% CGR.
Yeah.
These aren't just numbers. They signal massive change, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the real takeaway, when you see these staggering growth rates in places like Asia Pacific, the Middle East, Africa, it's not random.
No.
It points directly to huge trends. Massive urbanization, rapid infrastructure build-outs, a middle class that's expanding really fast.
More people needing modern homes.
Exactly. Millions more people getting modern homes, adopting new tools, maybe moving away from older, less precise ways of doing things. It reflects fundamental economic transformation.
A shift to modern building practices.
Yeah, and rising incomes that let people afford better homes, better tools. It's a burgeoning market for efficient tools. The sheer scale of development happening in these regions is, well, it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
And stud finders are just a tiny but really telling piece of that huge story.
It really does paint a vivid picture, doesn't it? So let's try and bring it all together. What does it all mean?
We've seen this global stud finder market experiencing just exceptional growth across the board, going from roughly $7.6 billion in 2021, heading towards over $81 billion by 2033. That's that near 11-fold increase in just over a decade.
Incredible trajectory.
And the picture that emerges is pretty balanced, actually. You've got Asia Pacific, the Middle East, and Africa leading in the percentage growth, the CAGR. That signals rapid development, adoption, driven by urbanization, rising middle classes.
The emerging powerhouses catching up, adopting new tech fast.
Right. But then you have North America and Europe. Their KGRs are slightly lower, but they still dominate in sheer market size. Their value remains huge.
Which shows their continued economic weight, right? And those robust DIY and renovation cultures we talked about, plus the existing infrastructure that keeps getting upgraded.
So it's a dynamic story. Sustained power in some regions, explosive new growth in others.
Exactly. And there's always more to learn, different ways to look at it, but this deep dive, it really shows demand is surging everywhere.
Yeah.
Developed economies, emerging economies, doesn't matter. Yeah. This industry, which seems so niche, is genuinely on track for unprecedented global expansion. And it reflects much bigger things: construction trends, home ownership patterns, access to technology across the whole planet.
A microcosm of global economic evolution.
Well put. It highlights how even simple tools can reflect really profound shifts in society and the economy.
It is genuinely incredible how digging into something like a stud finder can give you such rich, complex insights into these huge global trends.
It really is.
It just shows, sometimes the biggest stories are hiding right there in plain sight, maybe behind your drywall, or just in the data for a simple tool.
And that really raises an important question, I think, for you, our listener.
Yeah.
What other everyday tools, or maybe seemingly mundane market segments, might be holding similar clues? Clues to these vast global economic shifts, consumer behavior patterns, things we just tend to overlook.
That's a great thought.
It encourages you to look beyond the obvious, doesn't it? To see the bigger picture in the small details.
Absolutely. Something to think about next time you're reaching for a tool. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.